My name is Emma. I am 26 years old. I worked in a tall glass building in San Francisco. It was called Salesforce Tower. People said it was the most famous office in the city. Every morning, I looked up at the building and felt proud. I wore my best clothes, took the train, and walked with my head high. I loved my job. I loved the fast work. I loved the coffee shop downstairs. But most of all, I loved my boss. His name was David. He was 34 years old. He wore clean suits and spoke with calm words. He smiled when he talked. He listened when people spoke. I watched him every day. I did not mean to, but I could not stop. David was smart. He was strong. He knew how to lead. Everyone in the office liked him. But when he looked at me, something felt different. I was just an assistant. I answered calls. I sent emails. I made sure the meeting rooms were ready. But still, he saw me. At first, it was small. He smiled when I gave him papers. He looked at me longer than needed. One day, he asked if I wanted lunch from the same place he liked. I said yes. He said, "Good. You have taste." I smiled all day after that. My friends at the office started to joke. "Emma, the boss is looking at you again. Emma, you'll be the next manager soon." I laughed with them. But inside, I was scared. Was this real? Was he really interested? After some time, he began to speak to me more. He asked me to join team meetings. He gave me small tasks. He asked my ideas in group calls. He looked happy when I spoke. I felt proud. I worked harder each day. I wanted him to see me. I started to like my job more. I came early. I stayed late. I wore nice shirts and clean shoes. I wanted to look my best, but I did not try too much. I wanted to be simple. I wanted him to see me for who I was. He made jokes in meetings. Sometimes he looked only at me. My heart beat faster. I looked down and smiled. I could not help it. I felt something growing. I was not sure what it was, but it felt warm and real. One day, I stood alone in the break room. David came in. He said hello and smiled. He asked if I liked my job. I said yes. He looked at me for a moment. He said, "You are sharp. You will go far." Then he left. My hands felt cold, but my face was warm. That night I could not sleep. His words stayed in my head. He said I would go far. Did he mean it? Did he see something in me? I felt happy. I felt strong. I felt seen. But not everyone was happy. Some people began to look at me in a strange way. They did not smile. They did not talk much. Claire was one of them. She was older than me. She worked there for many years. She sat near David's office. She saw everything. One morning I walked past her desk. She said, "Be careful, Emma. Some people don't like girls who rise fast." I did not answer. I just walked away. My hands shook a little. I did not understand why she said that. I began to feel watched. When I walked into a room, people stopped talking. When I walked by, they looked at me, then looked away. I felt small. I felt cold, but I tried to ignore it. I told myself, just do your work. Be strong. David was still kind. He still smiled, but he spoke less now. He looked tired. He stayed in his office more. I thought maybe he was busy. I waited for a moment alone with him again. That moment came one night. I worked late. The office was quiet. I was about to leave. He saw me by the elevator. He said, "Do you have a ride?" I said no. He said, "Come, I'll drive you." I said thank you. In the car, we talked. He asked about my family. I said I had no one here. I moved alone from Texas. He said, "That is brave." I smiled and said, "I just wanted to grow." He said, "And you will." His voice was soft. After that night, something changed in me. I felt close to him. I felt like he cared. I did not tell anyone, but I began to dream about him. Not big dreams, just small ones, like coffee together or walks in the evening. But soon, everything changed. One Monday morning, I came to work. My desk was moved. My name was not on it. My files were not there. I went to my manager. He said, "You sit near the copy room now." I asked why. He said, "It's just a change." I tried to believe him, but I felt something was wrong. People passed me without talking. Some even laughed. I checked my emails. I was taken off a team, then another team. I had no meetings. My calendar was empty. I asked one coworker if something happened. She said, "I don't know. Talk to Claire." I did not want to talk to Claire. I was scared. I wanted to speak to David, but he did not look at me anymore. I sent him one short message. I asked if we could talk. He did not answer. He read it, but he said nothing. I felt lost. The next day, I came to work as usual. At 10 a.m., I got a message from HR. "Come to room 4 at 11. My hands started to shake. I walked there slowly. The HR woman was named Anna. She looked at me and said, "Emma, this will be hard, but we need to end your job here." I said, "Why?" She said, "There were concerns." I asked, "What concerns?" She said, "This is final." I packed my things in silence. No one helped me. No one said goodbye. I looked at David's door. It was closed. He did not come out. He did not say one word. I walked out of the tall tower. The street was loud. My face was red. My eyes were wet. I found a bench and sat down. I looked up at the glass building. It looked big, but it felt cold now. I thought about everything. The looks, the talks, the quiet smiles, the ride in his car, the kind words, the silence after, the move, the meeting, the end. I asked myself, did I make a mistake? Did he lie? Did Claire say something? Did he even care? I did not have answers. I only had questions. I lost my job. I lost my place. I lost the small dream I had. And worst of all, I did not know why. Before I share the rest of my story, I need to know, where are you listening from? Knowing someone hears me, understands me, gives me strength. I stayed on the bench for a long time. My hands felt cold. My eyes looked up at the glass tower. I used to love that building. Now it felt like a bad dream. I had no job. I had no answers. I felt like I had no voice. People walked by. Some looked at me. Some did not. I wanted to cry, but I could not. My heart felt slow. My head was full. I did not understand what happened. One day, I was fine. The next day, I was gone. I took the train home. The seats were full. I stood by the door. I looked out the window. I saw the city pass by. I felt small. I felt lost. I thought about David. He did not say goodbye. He did not look at me. He said nothing. That night, I sat at home in silence. I did not turn on the TV. I did not eat dinner. I looked at the floor for a long time. I thought about work. I thought about my desk. I thought about his voice. I wanted to forget, but I could not. I checked my phone. No message from him. Not one word. I wanted to text him. I wanted to ask, why? But I did not. I was afraid. I was hurt. I was not sure if he would even answer. The next day, I woke up early. My body was tired, but my eyes were open. I sat in bed for an hour. I looked at the wall. I had no work to go to. I had no plans. I had no idea what to do. I made a small breakfast. I sat at the table. The toast was cold. The tea was weak. I took one bite. I stopped eating. I felt sick. I pushed the plate away. I opened my laptop. I looked at job sites, but I could not focus. The words moved too fast. I closed it again. I sat on the couch. I held my hands together. They were shaking. Later that day, I got a message from a friend at work. Her name was Mia. She said, "I'm sorry, Emma. I don't know why they did that to you." I said, "Thank you." I asked, Did someone say something? She said, I think Claire went to HR. My eyes froze. Claire? Of course. I should have known. She never liked me. She always watched me. Maybe she told them lies. Maybe she said I did something wrong. I never did. But I knew how it looked. I was close to the boss. She did not like that. I sat back. My hands were cold again. I thought about David. Why did he not protect me? Why did he not speak for me? He was my boss. He liked me. At least, I thought he did. I wanted to go back to the office. I wanted to stand in front of him and ask, did I do something wrong? But I knew I could not. I was not welcome there anymore. I was out. And no one was going to open the door for me again. That evening, I went for a walk. The streets were full. People talked, laughed, and moved fast. I walked slow. I kept my eyes low. I passed by a coffee shop near Salesforce Tower. I stopped for a moment. I used to go there every morning. Now I did not want to go near it again. I crossed the street. I looked up. The glass tower stood tall. I stared at it. My eyes filled with tears. I wiped them quickly. I told myself, don't cry here. I walked away fast. At home, I sat down again. My phone was still quiet. I waited for a message. Just one. But it never came. I wanted to believe David was good. I wanted to believe he was kind. But now, I did not know what to believe. The next day, I got another message from Mia. She said, Claire told HR you were not acting like a team player. I asked, why? She said you only talked to David, not to others. I laughed a little. It was not true, but maybe it looked that way. I worked hard. I never broke rules. I did not act special. I only did my job. But people watch. People talk. People judge. I knew that now. In an office, not everyone is your friend. Some want to see you fall. I thanked Mia. I said, you are kind. She said, you didn't deserve this. I said, I know. That night, I looked at old emails from David. He had sent many messages to me. Thanks for the report. Good job today. Join the call at 3. I read each one. I looked at how he used to speak to me. The tone was soft, not like a normal boss. It was more... I remembered the way he smiled, the way he looked at me. I was not wrong. He liked me. I saw it in his eyes. I felt it in his voice. But now, it was all gone. He said nothing when I left. No help. No words. I thought maybe he was scared. Maybe he could not fight for me. Maybe someone told him to stay quiet. But that did not make it better. It made it worse. He let me go. He let me fall. A week passed. I did not get any calls. No job news. No offers. I stayed home. I tried to smile. I tried to move on. But it was hard. I felt stuck. I felt hurt. Then one day, I saw David on social media. He was at a company event. He looked happy. He stood next to Claire. She smiled at him. He smiled back. My eyes burned. I shut my laptop. I walked away. He moved on. He was fine. But I was not. I gave my time. I gave my heart. I lost my job. And I lost something more. I lost my trust. That night I made a choice. I would not cry for him again. I would not wait for a message. I would not ask why. I did not get answers. But I saw the truth. He was not the man I thought he was. He looked at me once like I mattered, but when it counted, he looked away. Days passed. Then weeks. I stayed home most days. I looked out the window. I watched the cars. I watched people walk. They had places to go. I had no place now. I had no job. I had no plan. I felt empty. Each morning I told myself, get up. I made tea. I cleaned the kitchen. I tried to feel normal. But I was not okay. I thought about David again. I remembered his eyes. I remembered his smile. I remembered the way he made me feel. But now I knew it was not real. If it was real, he would have helped me. If it was real, he would not stay quiet. But he said nothing. He let me walk away. He acted like I never worked there, like I never mattered. I thought about going back. I wanted to walk into that glass tower and ask him why. I wanted to hear his voice. I wanted him to look at me and say sorry. But he would not. I knew that now. He moved on. I had to move on too. I sat down with my laptop. I opened job websites. I read slowly. I looked at jobs for assistants. I saw one job I liked. It was at a small company. I sent my name and resume. My hands shook a little, but I pressed send. The next day, I got a reply. They wanted to meet me. I smiled for the first time in weeks. I found my clean shirt. I wore my good shoes. I took the train to the office. It was small but nice. The people there were friendly. The manager asked me many questions. I answered them all. I told the truth. I said I lost my last job fast. I said I did not know why. The manager looked at me kindly. She said, "Thank you for your honesty." I felt warm inside. 3 days later, I got a call. I got the job. I sat on my bed and cried. Not sad tears, just full ones. My hands covered my face. I was not lost anymore. I had a place again. I had work. I had a start. On my first day, I felt nervous. I walked into the new office. I smiled at people. They smiled back. The air felt better. Not heavy. Not cold. I sat at my desk. It was small, but it was mine. And I was thankful. I worked with care. I did not talk much at first. I watched. I listened. But the people were nice. One girl gave me coffee. Man helped me with my computer. The boss said, "You are doing well." I smiled and said, "Thank you." In my new job, no one gave strange looks. No one made jokes about me. No one made me feel small. I was just part of the team. I was just a person doing her job. And that was enough. One day, I walked past Salesforce Tower again. I stopped. I looked up at the glass walls. I remembered everything. The good days. The bad days. The final day. I stood still, but I did not cry. I did not feel cold this time. I said to myself, that place is not mine anymore. I turned around and walked away. I walked slow, but I felt light. I was not broken now. I was not sad. I was still healing, but I was okay. Some days I still thought about David. I wondered if he ever thought of me. I wondered if he felt sorry, but I would never know. And I did not need to know. His story ended. Mine did not. I did not send him a message. I did not wait for his words. I did not ask for his help. I let him go. I let the past stay in the past. One night, I made tea and sat by the window. I looked at the sky. It was dark, but quiet. I thought about who I was before. I thought about the girl who looked up at that big tower and said, "I want to grow." And I did grow, but not in the way I thought. I did not rise fast. I did not win love. I lost things, but I found something more. I found my strength. I found my peace. I was proud of myself. I was still standing. I had a job. I had a voice. I had my own life now. No boss could take that from me again. I woke up early the next morning. I got ready for work. I packed my bag. I took the train. I smiled at the people next to me. The sky was blue. The air was fresh. When I reached my stop, I walked with a calm heart. I walked past Salesforce Tower one last time. I did not stop. I did not look up. I did not feel pain. That place was behind me now. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, and share. More emotional and inspiring stories are coming soon.